Hello, welcome to the end of week 2 on our 4-week online course. So, halfway through, and this week we've been talking all about problems. And at this point it did seem to get a little bit more serious, and I think that's a good thing, people really getting their teeth into some very big and very serious problems. So, we were talking about fake news, the rise of robots and AI, environmental disaster, and also headphones that didn't fit quite as well as they could do. So problems of all shapes and sizes. And thank you to all of those of you who got so involved in the discussion and debate. So lots of you were contributing some really thoughtful pieces in terms of the problems that face us all and the problems that face you specifically. And there were also some really thoughtful contributions and answers going in as well. So lots and lots of people really taking up the challenge of talking to each other on the course and engaging in social learning. So that was really good. Thank you for doing that, and please keep that going, because I think it really does add. There are lots of comments in some of those early sections, thinking about problems, discussing problems. There's some real richness there for people who want to kind of have a dig through. So, in that piece about problems identified by the experts at the University of Bristol, we talked about some serious stuff and some not so serious stuff. There's lots of diversity. And then actually, Karen did point out that we could just blow it all up in the next 50 years anyway. What was interesting was that there were positive viewpoints in there, optimistic viewpoints, and there were negative viewpoints as well. And they're both probably equally valid. It's very difficult to look at what the future might hold, although that is something we are going to try and do in week 3. There are always flip sides to innovation. Things that help us move forward almost always seem to have unintended consequences as well. Almost all the things that we're kind of describing as problems now are things that actually were often caused by ways in which we solved problems in the past. So that is just something to bear in mind. Then we started talking about the problems that you face, and a couple of big themes came out again and again. There were lots of different things, but a couple of big themes. One of those was about communication, participation and teamwork. How do you kind of work well with other people? And I think this is partly about being open and communicating well. So when you go into a team process, you really need to be clear with yourself and with your team members, what does success look like? And that's a great question to put to people in a first meeting. What does success look like? And what does good contribution look like? How are we going to say that we are contributing well in a team process? What does good teamwork look like? And think about that as a doctor might, because actually, how do you diagnose that somebody is a good team worker? Is it the way they talk, the way that they engage, the way they get their work done? It's lots of different things, and we all have a personal style, but having a good open discussion at the start of a team process actually solves a lot of issues that might otherwise bubble up later. The second piece is, in addition to having a good discussion at the start, is to keep that discussion going. Can you have milestones over the course of a project, over the course of a group activity, that allow you just to check in and go, are we doing what we said we were doing? Are we doing it as well as we said we would do it? Are we going to get to the successes that we said we were going to try and get to? So good discussion at the start, good milestones throughout, means that by the time you get to the end of the process, you shouldn't be poles apart as a team in terms of your opinions. So those processes should help a little bit. The other one that came up again and again was around time management. And I'm going to slightly reframe this in that it's really about self-management and expectation management. One of the perils of the modern age is that we see a lot of other people broadcasting their lives, and we think that we could and should be doing all of those things. That somehow that fear of missing out, FOMO, is a huge phenomenon. And with all of the social media that we have at our disposal, it's really tempting to think we should be just doing so much more of our time. And actually, I think you have to be quite realistic about how much time you have. So one of the ways in which I manage my time is that whenever I have a task to do, I block out time in my diary. And I don't just block out the work I have to do, I also block out where I'm going to need a break, where I'm going to need some fun, where I'm going to spend time with my family, where I am going to turn work notifications off. And actually create some kind of sacred space in my calendar so I can get the things done that are important to me. Because otherwise my work could just eat all of my diary. So think about breaking your time out so that actually tasks that need doing, activities that need doing, even if that is an hour for procrastinating on social media, put it in your diary so that you have freedom to do it and freedom not to worry about the other things that you could be doing. Marking that time means that you should hopefully get quality time to do those things, and you can feel justified in turning other things off, that you can turn email off, you can put your phone away, actually, and you can feel free to say no. One of the best bits about having a diary that is kind of packaged up and full of stuff is that actually when someone says to me, Dave, can you just come and do this? And I can go, no, I'm sorry, I'd quite like to, but I can't. Have a look at my diary. There is no time available to do it. And actually, by and large, people are like, oh, right, okay, fair enough, fine. Just needed to know that. So it's almost as much about freedom from as it is about freedom to. And I know it seems counterintuitive to parcel up your time like that, but actually, once you know where things are, you avoid that terror of the idea that you could always be doing more. So just think about that. And that expectation management might just help you think about actually how are you breaking the time up more effectively. The other thing I wanted to mention that got provoked some debate. Obviously, in this week we shared quite a lot of different formal methods for picking apart problems, structuring problems to get to a better level of analysis. And there were a few comments that sort of said, "Oh yeah, that's quite nice. I don't know quite what I'd apply it to, or that doesn't feel maybe as creative as I'd like it to be." I know it says that these are formal methods, and there is absolutely a discipline in some ways to using them well. However, the beauty of all of these things is they allow you to unpack and unpick a problem or an issue, and to get to those levels of detail. It's a little bit silly, really, to think that you can take a problem in the round, consider it as a big holistic whole, and just solve it. Like your moment of genius is just going to help you do that. That's kind of not how it happens. Actually, by unpacking it and unpicking it and finding all the different components, by understanding that a problem or an issue exists within a system, once you spot that system, you can start to think about how you can act on it, how you can do something about it. Insights emerge from those unpackings. So actually, in terms of creativity, those formal methods are a great step to take because they allow you to work out what you're dealing with, and then you can be creative about tackling all of those components. So even if you didn't actually get involved in those debates on the course this week, do think about getting involved, do think about trying those methods out. They will feel a little bit contrived and artificial the first few times you use them. It gets better with time, and you will find that you use them quite naturally. Certainly, I do. All my notes for this are all sketched out in front of me with lots of visual markers as well. Really helps me get my head around it. I'm going to stop there for now. Lots of great contribution this week. Thanks again for doing that. Next week, we're taking a slightly different approach. We're going to be talking all about luck. So, good luck with that.